My fellow Africans, headed by His Excellency Malema, comrades, power! Comrades, power! Africa, power! Africa, power! Africa, hoye! Africa, hoye! Let us be proud of who we are. Give yourselves a clap. Mine will be very brief today. I had thought of saying so much. I had thought of writing a speech because this is an amazing forum we are at today, graced by one of our greatest Pan-Africanists, Julius Malema. Before I go to my speech, I want to say, Honorable Malema, you're a younger democracy than Kenya. But we have watched the democracy you have punctuated in South Africa. We have watched your vigorous party shake a whole government to its knees in the great house of the South African Parliament. Sometimes when I think backwards, I think when we did the new constitution, we should have had the president coming to Parliament. Don't you agree? I think we would have criticized and put him in a situation like we have seen in South Africa. We appreciate what you've done for party democracy. We wish you the very best in the next election. Give Malema a big clap. Now, Pan-Africanism is an ideology. An ideology, especially you young people, must start embracing if you have not embraced it yet. It is a spirit of brotherhood. A brotherhood of everyone of African descent, here and outside the continent of Africa. And this brotherhood recognizes our diverse culture, traditions, languages, and its strength and richness. It is rich, so rich that the colonialist came over 100 years ago, 1890, to take it away from us. They came here to ensure that they stop fighting in their own lands. In their own lands. And they came for the scramble of this great continent. They came for our resources. But they took the time. They took the time to study us. They took the time to define us. They took the time to create borders between us. They created countries. They created districts. They governed us. They are the ones who defined the Bantu and the Nilotes. That was not our definition. We now have a new resurgence. And that new resurgence must recognize the direction we have to go. We don't criticize our colonialists. In fact, they had a plan for themselves. So good luck. We must now start talking about our own plan for the greatness of this continent. We must talk about our greatness and our domination of the world. And we can't do so when we have been defined by others. We can only do so when we define ourselves. We are not going to be defined as the dark continent. We refuse to be defined as the poverty-stricken continent. We refuse to be defined as the continent that is full of corruption and disease and illiteracy. We refuse. We refuse. We are going to go forward on the basis of our strengths. And they are known. They are known. If you look at the map of the world, Africa is depicted as a small continent. Land mass itself is 13 million kilometers. It can fit the whole of Europe and the whole of America in it and still have another 10 million square kilometers. We must be very clear. With all the resources we have, 30% conservatively, it is estimated, of mineral resources in the world. 60% of solar power. Half of titanium. We go on and on. But the richest is the people. We have 1.4 billion Africans. That is a power that is a fifth of the world's population. And it is a young population. All of you I'm seeing back there. 77% of us are you, under 35. You are tomorrow's producers. You are tomorrow's consumers. The rest of the world is shrinking. We are growing. Recognize your power from here going forward. But your power will not be defined if you do not define yourselves. When the colonialist came here, he did not recognize that we had a philosophy. In fact, he said we had none. There is even a philosopher, German philosopher, called Maynard, Gustav Maynard, who was a racist philosopher, who said the African is inferior because he is ugly. That means he has inferior brain. He has no capacity for compassion. We must get away from those stereotypes. Those are the ones that have brought us to a world that is defined between black and white. Our greatness is going to be clearly defined by us defining ourselves. They came here with the Bible, and they came here with a gun. Internally, they had their collaborators. The collaborators that allowed them to perpetuate their colonialism. That colonialism is still here today. We had our freedom fighters who fought the first fight, which was our independence. And here I would like to recognize that, Bwana Malema, if you did not know, out of the 500 million people of the British Empire that were conquered, only Kenya gave them an armed struggle for independence. Give ourselves a clap. And that armed struggle in Kenya cost a community here 200,000 lives, conservatively put, because records were not known. It was genocide. It cost community here a mass detention camps like you saw in the Nazi camps. Entire communities of this country, in central Kenya specifically, were put under detention like the Nazi prison camps. The other day we had a king here who colonized us. And we appreciate. We don't know why he came. Do you know why he came? Because, we didn't understand why he came. We were not told why he was here. We didn't know whether he wanted to see where his mother was made king, queen, or something. We don't know. But when he came, he said he regrets and they are sorrowful. But he did not say sorry. He did not say sorry. One discussion they do not want to have is what they got from the colonies. 60% of the UK is built on their colonies. Their GDP is built on the colonies. And the greatest fear they have is the question of reparations. They are frightened of that word. Frightened. But it is a discussion we must start having. We are not going to allow the continuation of neocolonialism. We had our independence heroes. We had our second liberation heroes against those who were Africans that colonized us. I've seen in South Africa, you are going through the same thing. We have been there. Now we are going through together the economic liberation forward. I'm a sequel. There's no other topic even in this country and on this continent other than economic liberation. And that liberation, please understand, they are the colonized Africans, even in that liberation. The ones who are perpetuating debt as a tool of slavery. The ones who are perpetuating the removal of our natural resources as a tool of slaverism. The ones who believe, like the colonizers believed, that they can only be up if we are down. And they believe that they are becoming the new colonizers. Our liberation has got to be defined by the new liberators. In the old times, we have the liberators of Kwame Nkrumah, who specifically said, and I must quote him, I am African because, not because I am born in Africa, but because Africa is born in me. Those liberators, from the ideologies of Marcus Garvey, the liberators of Lumumba, of Mandela, of Nyerere, of Jomo Kenyatta, not the son, Jomo Kenyatta the father. Those liberators must be recognized. The new liberators now for the economic liberation must also be recognized. We know the colonizers, the African colonized. We now must recognize that we must form a union of the African liberators in this struggle for economic liberation. And with that, I say Africa hoye, Africa freedom, Africa asanteni sana. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. For